So this is our second unit on loops. And loops are a key topic in computing. You'll certainly be using loops in the rest of this class and almost every program that you write. And if you go on to write more code, you'll use loops all the time. This is a structure we use. Almost every program will have some sort of loop or something like that in it. So it's an important topic to learn and to kind of get down. And it is kind of hard to grasp at first. We'll look at a couple different kinds. By the end of the day, we'll have 3 different kinds of loops. They all kind of do similar things, and you have to get it kind of straight in your mind when you might use one or the other, or which one you'll start having a favorite type of loop, and you'll want to start get used to that. So again, since this is so key for going forward, it's important, and again, it is challenging and it is important. It's good to not fall behind in this Unit 5 and Unit 6 here. So make sure you try to do some of the exercise, especially if this is not coming, quickly to you. Keep exercising, keep going through some practice problems. Again, there's 3 places you can certainly talk to me and stop by my office, run things by me. We have a tutoring center, and Kyle is a tutor that's assigned specifically to this class and largely specifically for this kind of stuff, but to help you get through loops. So feel free to go to the tutoring center. I'm calling it the tutoring center. I think it's called the Student Support Center now. I think. So go to that. You can talk to Kyle and set up a meeting with him just to walk through, go through practice exercise, work on the assignments, anything like that. And we also have 2 TAs, Heba and Allie. And again, they have hours where you can check in with them. They have a spot where you can connect up with them. And so I posted that information again to the announcements here for you to see. So feel free to reach out to me or any of these people to keep practicing. And again, just spend some time working on this stuff, especially if it's not coming to you right away. Keep working on it. It's like any new exercise. You want to, especially if you're not that good at it, you want to practice it. I remember when I was growing up, I had an older brother who played a lot of basketball, and he was kind of tall. And so there's a shot from the baseline that just wasn't good at. And I remember as a younger kid watching him, he knew he was, and the coach just said, "You're not very good at this. Maybe you should work on this." And so I just remember him spending a summer where he would shoot 100 times. He would shoot from one baseline, go to the other baseline, go back and forth 100 times every day. He would shoot that shot until he got it down, until he could hit that shot consistently. And he did. It just took him a while to do that. And I always remember that because, it just made me realize, because I could sit there and watch. Well, I had to watch because he's my older brother and he wouldn't let me have the basketball. So I was well aware of that. So I just got to watch, and I got to see him get better little bit by practicing. So same with this sort of stuff. If this is not coming quickly to you, you just have to, put in some extra time on it. So, okay. So what are we doing? We're going into Unit 6 here, and we're going to go through the learning materials for this. And again, we're just looking at loops today, and how, and a new type of loop. So last week, we kind of looked at the while loop and the do while loop. They're kind of both loops. One has the while condition at the start of the loop, one has it at the end of the loop. This week, we're going to look at a for loop, which is a specific kind of loop that you can use in specific situations. And we're going to look at that here. I'm going to jump into the CS Awesome example right away, this 4.2 with loops here. Yeah, this talks, we actually, if you had CS principles, we see this loop in App Inventor. And this is how we write it out in Java. We say for, and then we could say like int number equals 1, number less than equal to 5, number plus plus. There's always three things, and they're separated here by semicolons here. And again, this shows it. There's always an initialization, semicolon, a test condition, semicolon, and then the change that you have. And then there's the loop body in here. And this is really a shortcut for a common while loop called a counter while loop here, where if, let's say you wanted to, oops, I didn't want to click on that. If you want to count, let's say we want to count backwards from 3 to 0 here with a while loop, we could say int x equals 3, and then while x is greater than 0, so while it's positive, we're going to print it out, and then each time we're going to take x equals x minus 1, subtract 1 from x each time. So this is a while loop, and again, very common while loop. This one's counting backwards, but you could also count forwards here. And so what we break this down is that we say for, and this initialization line goes into the first statement. We initialize some variable. So there's always a variable type and a name and an equals some initial value. So that's always the first thing. And then a semicolon, and then our test. So like here, we're testing while x is greater than 0. So keep looping as long as this is true. Our for loop will keep going as long as this is true. And then this x equals x minus 1. We could put that right in here, but they're shortcutting it by saying x minus minus here. There's a video here that walks you through, again, another example with this counter, counting from 1 to 4 and printing that out and showing a for loop and a while loop here. So again, that's what this, like here, this for loop, for int number equals 1, that's the initialization. When we start the loop, we do that. Then we check if number is less than or equal to 5. If that's true, we're going to do the block, whatever's in the statement here, in the block. And then at the end of the block, we're going to check. We're going to do number equals number plus plus. So when we get to the bottom, we do this increment. And then we check, is number still less than 5? And if it is, we loop back up. And so we'll be doing this. We'll always check if this is true. As long as it's true, we'll do the statements. And then at the end, we'll do this increment. So here's kind of the view of it. We do our initialization. We check our condition. If our condition is true, we go into our body. And then we do our change statement. And we loop back up, check our condition. If it's true, we do the body. We do our increment or change condition. And we keep doing. At some point, the condition will be false. And we get out of the loop for that. So like here's an example of a for loop here. I can run this. And it's just printing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it says for int count equals 1, count less than or equal to 5, count plus plus. And then it prints out count each time. So the first time through the loop, count is 1, and we print it out. Then we increment count, so count becomes 2, and it's still less than or equal to 5, so we print it out again. And then we check, or then we increment count. It was 2, now it's 3. So count is now 3. We check, is it less than 5? Yes. So we go through our loop again, count and print out 3. So now we print out 1, 2, 3 here. So now, again, every time we get to the bottom of the loop, we check, we do the increment, count equals count plus 1. So it'll be 4. It was 3. It'll be 4 now. And then we check our condition. Is 4 less than 5, less than or equal to 5? Yes. So when we go into our loop, we'll print out 4. And we do our increment, count equals count plus plus. We'll add 1 to count here. And we'll check is count less than or equal to 5. So we print out 5. So this prints out. And then eventually we say count equals count plus 1. Count will be 6. And then at that point, count 6 is not less than or equal to 5. That's false. So we get out of the loop. So we end up printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, you can just see we'll go to the loop as long as with count starting to 1, and we'll keep going as long as we're less than or equal to 5, and we always add 1 to it. That's plus is just add 1. So I can actually try this out. What's nice about this CIS Awesome is you can try this code out right here for this. Now, what happens if I change this code? If I say count equals count plus 1, does that change it? What will it print out now? Here, so I can run that again. So that's going to do the same thing. I had a count plus, and I just came and changed it to count equals count plus 1. And those two statements do the same thing. We're in both cases, we're adding 1 to the count. What if I change this less than or equal to 10? What will it print out now? For count equals 1, count less than or equal to 10, count equals count plus 1. So I run that. And now it's printing from 1 to 10 out here. So it's printing out 1 to 10. Because again, I started at 1, I'm going to 10. What if I start at 2 and go to 10? What is it going to print out then? So again, it's going to start at 2 and keep going through the loop, and go till 10. So 2 to 10 here. What if I print out hello or here? Hello. Okay. And run it now. So now it's going to just print out hello a whole bunch of times here. What if I print out hello, the current number is, and then print out the count? What is that going to print? What's that going to display? So again, it says hello, the current number is 2, hello, the current number is 3, hello, the current number is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's doing this. What if I say, if I have 2 statements in here? I say hello, and then I say the current number is, what does it print out then? So it's going to say, hello, the current number is 2, hello, the current number is 3. So again, it does whatever I say in here with this loop. What if I want to go from, what if I change this instead of count equals count plus 1, count equals count plus 2? What is that going to give me? Or in count equals 2, count less than or equal to 10, count equals count plus 2. Hello here. So if I run this, it'll say, hello, the current number is 2, and then the current number is 4, 6, 8, and 10. It'll stop there. So I could keep talking about for loops. And again, in the Java, think Java, there's some nice examples here. What does, you could take this loop and print it out. And sometimes I actually think with loops, it's nice to be able to take these out and start some code, start a new project here and just create a, unit 6 sample loops project and paste that code in here, clean it up a little bit so it looks better, and then run it and just see what it prints out and see if it matches what you think it's going to print out here. Then again, they're talking about the initializer condition and the update here. We check our Boolean condition, we do our statements, we do our update here, and they do other loops here and talk about them. One of the things they talk about here that's interesting is we declare a variable inside our loop here, int n equals 3. But if we want to print out that when we're done, that's going to give us a problem. If we try to do this, again, I'm going to move this over here. Trying to comment this out and clean this up. Okay. I try to run this and it'll give me an error. One of our projects had to compile errors, so I don't want to run that. And the error is right here when I try to print n out. And what happens is that n is right here only defined inside this loop. So it's only good within those braces there. So every variable, we haven't talked about this too much, but every variable where we declare it is only good usually within the scope or the braces that it's defined. So if you define a variable here, it's only good within that loop. So if we want it to be used outside the loop, we need to declare it outside the loop. So we'll have to say int n here. And then here it's still giving me error. Since I've already declared the variable as type int, I don't have to tell the computer that it's an int again. It knows it's an int. I told it was an int up here. So now I can just say that. So now this will run correctly. So again, it's good to work through this. Now, I love loops. I could talk about loops all day, but I'm guessing you might not be as excited about loops as I have. So I'm going to have you try out some exercises here. And we're going to do these in pairs here. So I'm going to assign you in pairs, and then we're going to do this paired programming activity here for this. And this time we'll do pairs nearby you. Make sure you know your neighbor and stuff. And later on, we'll do pairs other places, but we'll do pairs. Yeah. We'll have YouTube pair, YouTube pair, YouTube pair, YouTube pair, YouTube pair, YouTube pair. You don't get a pair. I'll be your pair, okay? Yeah. Liz and I are partners. Okay. And other students aren't here. You can pair up also. In fact, I'll put a list of students here. Although this is just a learning activity, you don't have to turn anything in. Nothing is due. This is just for learning. So there's no points. There's no assessment or anything like this. This is just something for you to do so that you don't have to listen to me talk about this. So open up this Unit 6. And I would suggest we're going to do pair programming. So to set up, one person copy this document here. Make a copy of the document and share it with your partner. The other person should run NetBeans, or one person should be running NetBeans. I only want NetBeans on one computer, hopefully, for pair programming. So one person should be running NetBeans. You can both have the document open if you want, and then enter your name. So make a copy of this, go up to File, make copy, make a copy of it, and then you can share it with the other person. If you go up to share here, you can type in the other person's email address and share it. You don't have to share it, but again, I think when we start reviewing for the exam in a couple weeks, you're going to want to maybe use this as part of your review there. So I would say it's worthwhile to share it with each other. So, and put the students' names or emails in here, and then just start working on these loops here. And so try that out. So here with this loop, we've got this loop running that goes from 1 to 10 for this. Now, and I've got that in a for loop, a while loop, a do loop. What I want you to do is take this loop and modify it so that rather than going from 1 to 10, you ask the user for the highest number to count to. So again, you should be using maybe NetBeans. You'll maybe put that loop over here. And then you want to ask the user what number do you want to count to here for this and do that. And so for that, you're going to need to create a scanner and import a scanner for that, and then ask the user, enter the high number you want or the number you want to count to, and do that. And then once you get that loop figured out, paste it in here and see if you can do it in a while loop then or not. So see how that works.
And what it's under put those things right. Would you want to everything now
So again, our hope is that maybe you can do this with a for loop, and then you can do this with a while loop and a do while loop here and see what it enters here. Now the third one, you don't have to code it. Just if you enter a 1 for this, so you have this working and you enter 1, how many times does this run here? Oops.
And thinking about that. No, the thing for everything. Say the number is 1. Either 0 or 1. Because we already declared the value 1. It's going to print out 1. Okay. Even if you input 0. In the green, one is going to be 1. Yeah. If you go above and it's just going to count. Okay. It's the same for all figures. If the number is are we supposed to submit this one?
Nope, you don't have to do anything. Just learning.
Equal to none plus 1. I think it's really above this one. It was none equals none plus 1. And then if we just change it to none plus 5, it should also. Yeah, it works. None plus 5. And also there was another word.
Our thing to watch is that here we ask you what happens if you enter a 1 or a 0 in your loops here. And usually when you enter a 0 and you're going from 1 to whatever, and it's a 0, it won't do anything. But you should check the do while loop my do while loop, even if I put in a 0, it still says the number is 1 here for that. So see, if you do a do while loop here, you ask the user to enter the highest number and they enter 0. Does it still print out the number as 1 or does it not? So make sure you kind of check that one. That is a strange, that's the one that's kind of unexpected. So, okay, and we're ready to switch users here. So switch who's coding.
You have to do this from there. Ten to zero. 10 to 0. I don't know what we're gonna do. Then we have to see. My brain is not. We're ready to get this. Just like what we did. Yeah. So we should comment this. Yeah, we're not using it here. Or we can just. We don't really need it. It's counting hints to contact. I don't know why he's in it. One of us. I don't know why he's in now. Now, everyone felt like they probably run that stuff. You know, maybe you started whatever number they okay, so let's go back. And you can say this. I think particular books all the try it out. Okay. So now, if you have them pick the highest number, where do you want to be? Where do you want to put that in there? Yeah, we need. Yeah, so let's say they want to come down. They want they want 20. So we ask what's the highest number that we got in. Now, how do we use highest? So it starts at 20 and
But I think.
No, I mean, so when you run this, they'll enter 20. I know it will be. What the heck? So, okay. And so here, right, the, how we now oh, this one should start at 10. No. We want to start at. Yes. Okay. Then should be 10. So. Yes. Let's start the -1. Right. Yeah. 10 minus 1. Take off the 10. When now it has to be greater than or equal to. Now should be greater than our number will start at the highest number, about 20. Use kind of like it's greater than on this side. Try that out. Yeah.
All right. And switch who's coding.
It's been.
It's been 5 minutes.
Why? Import, okay. What? Okay, you already. So what do you mean by put down? While.
So a for loop is like a specific condition for a while. So you can take any for loop, you can rewrite it as a while because you have those conditions there. But the while loop in a do while is more general. So like if you like when you thought about like we asked the user to repeat if they enter the right number. You don't know how many times you're gonna repeat the loop or whatever. Then you can use a while loop there, but you cannot use it.
This is the location. Photo. Right, a little dot hashtag user enters three numbers and then points out the photo of the three numbers. Okay, sit down. So out and find photo of user. What are you saying? What is like this. Not holding against so
Yeah. So what is, I guess, we would just say what you're When you move different numbers, you want like user. Right. So then user
These
entry.
ones, this one will have the reply.
Not or else or anything like that. Okay, so, okay. Who is? Anything like the loop thing, then all. But now, are you wanting to enter multiple numbers or you want to enter one number? Okay, so like which one of
What
these?
is
You don't like where you are.
username?
Okay, so you're trying to do.
Starting from this, it initialized.
Stuff, something average. Okay. Yeah, we should look to that, without the if then.
But
Two.
no, we don't need all these. But we have to do the same with this one.
Okay, we're running a little low on time here. So, we'll, give you some more time to work on this on Friday during our review day. So, on Friday, you can work on either this or you can work on some of the review problems on Friday. So, okay, Wednesday, we're gonna print out fun stuff, pyramids and stars and stuff. So on Wednesday, we'll do it, our discussion activity. So, okay.